we have takes. Welcome to Football Takes. Football!
I would say next to Purple Daily, probably the most appropriately and simply named show on the Score North Network. Purple Daily is literally, what is the show? It's Purple Daily. We talk about the Vikings every day. Well, what's this show? With Thor Nystrom, Judd Zulgad, Phil Mackey, Declan Goff, our producer. It's Football Takes.
Football.
We've got takes about football. If you want our full-on Vikings takes, you can find them on Purple Daily and Thor Talks Purple. But this is a brand new podcast, brand new YouTube channel. We're going to take the old NFL takes we used to do on Purple Daily, bring it over to here. This will be a place for Thor to deliver over the coming weeks and months his draft-related takes and rankings and thoughts. And Thor also has thoughts on how to help you make money while watching football. And a lot of that will be under the Football Takes umbrella. So click that subscribe button on the new YouTube channel. And sometime here on this Monday, Football Takes, Score North Football Takes, should be available on Apple and Spotify. But gentlemen, are we ready to sling some football takes?
Sure am.
Are you kidding? Day after, huge weekend.
Oh,
Love this. Love it.
Let's party. All right, Thor. Well, you can hit the first T-ball here. What is your first football take?
I'm going to start in college football. The college football playoff field announced over the weekend after the conference title games. We got the rest of the bowl matchups, and we had some wonkiness going on that I wanted to address. And my hot take off the top is, yes, Notre Dame might have gotten screwed over the weekend, but I think they screwed themselves and the sport of college football even more by the way that they reacted to that. And just for people that, were not college football or under a rock with this over the weekend, Alabama and Miami picked into the college football playoff field over Notre Dame. And that required a flip-flop from the committee heading in order to shove Notre Dame out. The college football playoff rankings heading into the weekend, Alabama was number 9, Notre Dame was number 10, BYU was number 11, and Miami was number 12. Alabama, despite losing by 3 touchdowns in a totally non-competitive game to Georgia in the SEC title game, they end up staying at number 9. BYU loses 34-7 to Texas Tech. They end up falling 2 spots or drop 1 spot to number 12 to be totally out of it. But Notre Dame falls down despite being inactive, and then they end up flipping them with Miami, who was also inactive, to get in. So Miami, that did not play, they jump up 2 spots to number 10 to steal the final at-large one, and Notre Dame drops to number 11. Like I said, the week before the penultimate week, so the week heading into last week, Notre Dame was ahead of Alabama, and then the committee switched it in a move that a lot of people saw as the committee inoculating Alabama from a loss in the SEC title game, and that's exactly what ended up happening. But I thought that was pretty fascinating because what happened the week before last week was Notre Dame beat Stanford 49-20, whereas Alabama just barely snuck by Auburn 27-20. That was the bizarre sort of move in advance that set this up. But you just look at like S&P Plus ranking. There's a whole bunch of different metrics to look at for this, but just by SP Plus, Notre Dame 6, Miami 9, Alabama 13. Alabama's resume, in my opinion, for me, the thing, it should have been Miami should have been 9, Notre Dame should have been 10, Alabama should have been the one that got shoved out. Alabama rocked by Florida State 31-17 in the regular season opener. Florida State was 4-7 the rest of the season. Alabama was lucky to beat Georgia. They beat them by a field goal in the regular season, but Alabama finished that game with a 19.3% post-game win expectancy. They were lucky. Alabama was lucky to beat Missouri 27-24. Alabama had a 26% post-game win expectancy in that. And then the Auburn game that I mentioned to finish the regular season, Alabama wins by 7, but they end that game with a 44.5% post-game win expectancy before getting mauled by Georgia. That being said, Miami, you have to put them in ahead of Notre Dame because Miami beat Notre Dame heads up. But yeah. I think, again, the team that should have gotten shoved out was Alabama. All that being so, Notre Dame, I'm conceding to you in advance. Yes, I do think that you should be in. You absolutely have a gripe here. But the fact that you're going to take your ball home because you didn't get selected into the CFP, you turned down the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which Pop-Tart Bowl, a fun bowl game, and it would have been a very fun matchup because Notre Dame would have been matched up with BYU. But instead, Notre Dame is upset about the selection process, so they're just not going to play. What you've done here is you are accelerating our move towards the extinction of non-CFP bowl games, which I don't love that, right? And then you also, with your current team, your underclassmen, you are depriving them multiple weeks of practices here. And then your seniors that aren't going to be playing in the NFL, you end their career prematurely. I didn't like this thing from any angle. And Notre Dame, a team that last year, they become the first team to get the full lump sum payment for reaching the national title game as a $20 million or something. Usually that's given to the conference the team is coming from. Notre Dame gets the entire thing. But now, 1 year later, they want to make this statement about how the whole system is broken. Get into a conference if you think that. The thing that you controlled, Notre Dame, is your entire schedule. You get to schedule 12 games. Your 2 tough ones at the beginning of the season, those are the ones that you lost. The last 10 games were cake. I said this in the moment. You can look back on my Twitter. I quote tweeted it this morning. In the moment after Notre Dame started 0-2, I said, we as a nation need to decide right now if Notre Dame is playoff worthy because they're going to win 10 straight games against this cake schedule. They ended up doing it. And again, I understand the argument that they have, and I've already conceded. I would have personally put them in over Alabama. That being said, it is bad for the sport, taking your ball and going home, and it's bad for kids on the roster. So I thought that was poorly done by Notre Dame.
Wow. Let's just take a moment and applaud the first ever football take.
Yep. That was very
Scorner football takes right there.
That was very good, especially since I completely disagree.
Oh.
The sooner these, I've been saying this for 5 years, get these bowl games out of here. They're studio programming. You know what you are now? You are professional sports, so act like it. Continue to expand your playoff. I have seen, I think there's something like 7 schools now that have opted out.
Yeah.
So
Irish
Iowa
are the
State,
big one.
Kansas
right.
State.
You know what? You should opt out. If you're not a playoff team now, and the playoff should expand, if you're not a playoff team, these bowl games are studio programming, meant nothing more than to give ESPN something to show because they know football crazed fans will watch it. But I want to see, exactly.
They
you know what?
Thor's just sitting there.
Notre Dame, I'll give the floor to Phil because he is the Notre Dame guy here. But I applaud not going to these stupid bowl games that still exist.
Listen, as the only member of this show with blood and family lineage tied to Notre Dame. My grandfather played for Notre Dame for back under Newt Rockne, by the way, back almost 100 years ago. My grandfather would be rolling over in his grave if he saw these Golden Domers stoop to the level of the Pop-Tart Bowl, knowing that they are one of the 3 bona fide best teams in the country. Here's why I don't care about the Pop-Tart Bowl thing. Quite frankly, Notre Dame is beyond and above the juvenile nature of the Pop-Tart Bowl. Okay, Thor.
Look at all these bowl games. Yes, they're above
on your other points. I think there's two things, and I want to drill down on one of them. One is there's so many ways that you can objectively and analytically rank college football teams now, and how good are they? They're not all playing similar schedules, so you have to figure out that team played an entirely different slate of games than that team, and how do you weigh the strength of conference and schedule and opponents and whatever. And by most measurements, Notre Dame was above Alabama and Miami, and I think FPI had them as a top 4 team in the country. But don't start 0-2. Don't lose to Miami, because then at the end, when there are only a certain amount of at-large bids to be given out, and one of them you got beat by earlier in the season, that has to mean something. So I am not entirely offended that my second favorite college football team behind Row the Boat, Skymago Gophers is left on the outside. I think people who are mad about Miami leapfrogging Notre Dame, and it doesn't make sense because last week, the committee is admitting essentially, we probably should have had it rearranged in advance and we screwed up. And if you look at it, we can't possibly put Notre Dame in over Miami because Miami beat Notre Dame a few weeks ago. But don't you guys, to zoom out for a second, don't you guys find this argument kind of hilarious? And that if you look back 15 years ago, we were arguing who the third team was that got snubbed because the selection committee, the BCS format, 12 years ago, actually, was the last year of it, was selecting 2 teams. And so there was sometimes a third, like, undefeated team that says, wait a second, we don't get a crack at the national championship. And then we changed the format so that 4 teams can be selected. And now we're pissed about, again, 10 years ago or 3 years ago even, the 5th team is pissed because we're a 1-loss team. We've gotten this thing to the point where we are debating whether 2 and 3-loss teams deserve a crack. And I say, guys, for 100 years, it would have been laughable to think that you could start 0-2 and still have a crack at the national championship. So I'm actually okay with a little controversy over that 12th overall pick. I think we have to decide, how inclusive do we want to be? Because Notre Dame, if they played James Madison or Tulane on a neutral field, would beat those teams by 18 or 20 points, I think. Maybe Thor would tell us otherwise. So but the problem there is, if you tell those teams from the Sun Belt, from the MAC, from the AAC and Conference USA, there's 65 of those teams, by the way. If you tell those teams, hey, sorry, James Madison, Tulane, you can go freaking 11-1 or 12-0. You're not as good as a 3-loss Texas team because we look at your rosters and we can tell. You are telling 65 teams your season doesn't matter. There's literally nothing you can do to even have a sniff at a chance to get blown out in the first round of the college football playoff.
Why don't they give them their own playoff? Like they don't belong. This is not college basketball. This drives me crazy, okay? College basketball, 15 seed gets in, might win once in a while, right? Huge upset. They beat Michigan. Oh my God. Football's a different animal. You've got no chance. And I believe that the ACC starting next year is going to get the automatic bid in, which Duke did not. So I think you're going to be down to one group of 5, but give the group of 5 their own little cute playoff. I don't care. I want to watch the big boys play. That's why this is designed. I want to watch.
Colin Coward.
I want to watch. I do. I don't want to see. I don't want to see Thor. I don't want to see feel-good stories in college football so they can get blown out.
I don't want to see Cinderella.
I
want to see greatness.
Well, I do in college hoops. I don't want to see it in college football because it's not real. It's not going to happen.
We're in an interim period where I think the time where the G5, where those teams get taken out of this is exactly what you're saying, Judd. It's when we finally get to the 2 super conferences, because we've been heading towards this for a while. But this thing is going to end with SEC and Big Ten. You're going to have the 2 mega conferences. The NCAA will be officially dead at that point. It's on life support right now because those 2 conferences will just make all the rules, and then at that point, whoever is in the subdivision, which right now is the G5. Those schools will get together and they will have their own postseason tournament. So then you won't have that in. However, I got to go against you on another point. Until that happens, I love that the G5 team gets into the CFP. And yes, you're going to have to see a whole bunch of blowouts in advance until we get to the interesting game. But there will come a time. First, we're going to see one of those teams take the heavily favored team down to the wire. And if we get 50 more years of this, 60 more years, there will come a time where you have where you have David that slays Goliath in the NCAA tournament, 1 against 16. What was it? 30 years, 40 years? The 1 seed won every single time until Baltimore County went against Virginia and upset Tony Bennett or whatever. It will happen eventually. And until it does, I would rather see a James Madison or a Tulane go into Eugene, Oregon, or go into Oxford, Mississippi with their slingshot and their rock, as opposed to Duke, who backs into the thing, 8-5 Duke or whatever. Yeah. That's just me. I would rather see them in there. Give it a shot.
60 years, dude. I am 56 right now. I am not going to make it to like 110. So I don't care about the small schools. You have your own tournament and get off my television when it comes to this is a made-for-TV professional sport now, okay? And that's the thing, too, is I got no sympathy for some senior whose team declines the Pop-Tart Bowl. Dude, you're playing in what is now a professional sport. Like when you guys started to get paid, you lost my sympathy for this would be my last chance to play football. If you got a paycheck, screw you. You're already a professional. So I got no time for, little Johnny. His dream was to play for the Irish. And he was, you know what? He just got a free car. bleep off.
You know what? Lil Johnny shouldn't have missed that zone
Yeah.
read block in week 2 against Miami, or they'd be in the college football playoff.
Amen.
But this year in the Pop-Tart Bowl, they're having the multiple big Pop-Tarts where the winning team, they get to pick which flavor they want. In the past, you just had the one big one, right?
Oh,
and then
they
he
get
goes
to
down in
choose?
the giant. They get to choose. This time, they're bringing like 4 giant Pop-Tarts there. Winning team gets to choose. You're going to have multiple options. I mean, Joe, how can you turn this down?
Brown sugar.
Yeah. What are the
Wildberry?
how? Because is it all of the Pop-Tart options, or do they give you like 4 to choose from?
I think they're going to cut it down. You wonder if they ask the schools in advance, like, could you do a little straw poll for us? Then we decide. But, I would go, you got to go strawberry, right? Got to go s'more, in my opinion.
S'more, 100%.
S'more is really good.
S'more that's got to be the 1-1. After that, honestly, I don't really care. I'd let my teammates decide, but strawberry and s'more got to be out there.
I mean, I didn't know that you got to choose between multiple Pop-Tarts to send to their toaster demise.
Yeah.
I changed my entire opinion about Notre Dame turning that opportunity down.
Yes, let's
What
go.
are they thinking?
Yeah.
Brown sugar, wildberry.
Brown sugar, pretty good.
I mean, the wildberry just like aesthetically looked great as a kid. Like I remember, like that blue, like the icing on the top, so dang good.
They have little
brown
stars
sugar,
on there, like the
Yeah.
little, yeah.
And the strawberry ones, hot take, better frozen than toasted.
Oh.
Oh,
Try them in the freezer. Try
Okay.
only the strawberry. Only the strawberry.
and it doesn't break your teeth or anything?
No,
Like, you
no,
can
no,
still
It's
bite
still
through
a
it?
Pop-Tart. Yeah, it's not a rock. But yeah, no, try them in the freezer. Hot take.
I am sad that we don't get to see Jeremiah Love against the, running through the playoff again before he goes to the NFL draft. But maybe it's better he get less wear and tear. And at least with Miami, they're really good in the trenches. So I'm excited to see them in the playoff. Francis Mayoga, their offensive tackle, is going to go real early in April. And then Ruben Bain, their edge rusher. Those guys both absolutely could be top 10 picks. And maybe that's the favorite probability right now. So we'll get to see some fun players. But it is unfortunate we don't get to see Jeremiah Love. Of course, now Notre Dame opting out, and they should be in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Judd, come on, you have to agree with us on this. We could have seen.
So you think Jeremiah Love would have played?
Probably not, but we could.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think part of the reason, I honestly think part of the reason why 7 schools have declined is because players opt out, and that's the one thing. I'll defend players. I got no problem with that. If you think you got a pro future and you're like, oh, let's go play in the Pop-Tart Bowl. I mean, bowl games used to mean something. Now you got all these. I don't blame any kid who says, I'm a first-round draft pick. I ain't going to play in a game in which I could tear my Achilles.
And
Except the Pop-Tart Bowl is an exception.
Yeah, that's a good point. But and as I think there's at least 2, maybe 4 members on this show that would like to see Jeremiah Love maybe in a Vikings jersey stay away from any sort of activities that could
Including
threaten
Pop-Tarts.
that from happening. Yeah.
Don't eat the Pop-Tarts. Don't play in the game.
Judd, do you have a football take?
I do indeed. There is going to be chaos at the end of the National Football League season when it comes to the coaching carousel. Okay? That's my football take. So the Titans and Giants job are open already. Let me go through the list of guys I just expect to get axed it's not the Monday now. It used to be. Now it sort of plays out. But anyway, I think Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland is done. I think Zach Taylor in Cincinnati is done. I think Raheem Morris in Atlanta is done. Jonathan Gannon in Arizona is done. Pete Carroll with Vegas, I think, is done. He might just step down. It's been a disaster, but he'll be out. And then I still think Mike McDaniel is out because the Dolphins are going to hire a GM to replace the guy that they fired, and that GM is going to want to bring in his own guy. That is 8 openings fairly quickly. And the only one I think for sure gets a head coaching job quickly is probably Stefanski. I think
you think he just gets hired right away?
I think he gets like the Giants job, the Titans job with Cam Ward, perhaps. I think he gets a job pretty quickly. But I think this is going to be coaching carousel chaos. By the way, big fan.
The fascinating thing is this is coming off of the craziest college football coaching carousel that we've seen, and I don't think that one is done yet. There are like 4 openings still, but even beyond that, I don't think the college one is done because I think the two are going to merge together and bleed together. I think, one of those 8 or however many NFL openings that we have, I think you're going to see at least one college coach go up. There has been more than smoke. There has been reported rumors all fall about Steve Sarkisian, his camp putting feelers out, which then Steve Sarkisian's camp, his agents came out and sort of soft denied or whatever. But like that story is not going away. Another big one, the guy the coach of the team we were just talking about from the top, Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. And can you imagine if Marcus Freeman, who pulled his team out of the Pop-Tart Bowl, how can you do that? Now, if he's going to start talking to NFL teams about openings and then he leaves prior to next season.
What if, and I would never accuse my coach of doing such a thing, but
Sure.
What if he selfishly pulled Notre Dame out of the Pop-Tart Bowl so that he could have like 2 or 3 clean weeks to prepare for his NFL interviews in future?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it might not be a selfless thing. Like, it might not have been just, I don't know.
There's another team, by the way, just for fun. Pittsburgh, they big win yesterday.
Yeah, they claimed
for Mike Tomlin, but we'll see.
Did I just hear Football Takes in its first show ever crossover with Reckless Speculation?
Yeah.
It's like the CSI franchise.
I think so.
It's a guest appearance by Reckless Speculation.
If Freeman or Sarkisian end up going up, think about the domino effect that would have at the end of the college carousel, where then a Texas or a Notre Dame, you're going to pick off someone from a tier below you who then has to pick off someone from – it's just going to restart the thing again. So it's going to be chaos. Judd, I totally agree with you. And again, I think the two are going to end up merging there.
Would there be a chance that a fired coach from the National Football League actually drops down to a really good college job too?
That's possible, especially with these late openings, coming up, that could arise, with whether it be Notre Dame, whether it be at Texas, or whether it be one of the schools beneath them. Absolutely. Both college and NFL, they love their recycled coaches. So absolutely could happen.
I think I don't disagree with any of two teams are already open, like you said. I don't disagree with any of these. I mean, Cleveland, I hate that Stefanski's in this position, and it's because of, I think, more organizational dysfunction than anything that would be directly his fault. But the whole thing has kind of crumbled down. They blew another lead yesterday. Cincinnati feels like, okay, they're going to go into, we don't know how much longer we're going to have Joe Burrow, or if we're going to have healthy Joe Burrow much moving forward. He's going to be 29 years old, and it feels like 20 years ago when they went to that Super Bowl in 2021 at this point, with a fresh Zach Taylor. But their defenses are historically bad, and you're kind of wasting this Joe Burrow period. So it kind of feels like they have to go and find a new coach. And the other teams you listed, but I feel like there's not like an obvious Ben Johnson out there. It feels like it's a down pool of potential head coaching candidates to fill that many jobs. Doesn't mean that they won't fire 8 coaches and try, because that's the way the NFL works. But the NFL.com has a list of 24 candidates to know, so there's always going to be names out there, but I don't know how many of them are super inspiring compared to some of the previous years. So that's something to keep an eye on too. Marcus Freeman does show up on this list, by the way, on NFL.com. Interesting.
Yep, Marcus, he's been coming up. His name's been popping up here, and now he's got some open free time to pick up that phone.
Yep. Okay, Dex.
Football. Yeah, I got one for you. I got an NFL one. I think the Green Bay Packers are either going to the Super Bowl or are going to lose in embarrassing fashion in their first playoff game. Because I seriously cannot figure out how good this team is. You look at their record, pretty good. Got a great player in Micah Parsons that's helped out their defense, their offense and defense, top 10 in both metrics. They've also played with their food and played down to their competition on numerous occasions this season. And it feels like a team that should probably be in the Super Bowl conversation, obviously. Again, good head coach. Offense is pretty solid. Defense, the Micah Parsons thing pushes them over the top. Like, if they didn't have Parsons, I don't think that this Packers team's a Super Bowl threat, but Parsons makes them a Super Bowl threat in the NFC. But I can see them having their way through the NFC, or I could see them getting absolutely punched in the gut and losing like they have to the Panthers. They only put up, 7 points against the Eagles earlier this year. Their variance, to me, is probably the widest of all of, the legit Super Bowl contenders right now. I mean, if you look at most odds and stuff, they do have decent Super Bowl chances to win the whole dang thing. They're third best, right? Actually, they're tied for the second best odds to win the Super Bowl, according to FanDuel.
Wow. But
I think their variance is so high and low. I'm trying to figure out which of the real Green Bay Packers show up.
I think, I want to jump in with, this is this is a case where we almost need to just strip away Packers and what you see when they do play with their food sometimes and just do like the blind resume description. And so as I describe this blind resume to you, how would you react to it? We'll start with quarterback because to me, Jordan Love is the thing that goes blue screen of death more often than other things, where all of a sudden he'll just throw a terrible interception against the Browns in week 3 or whatever it was. Or he'll just make bizarre decisions. But if I told you, all right, at quarterback, even with some of the wonky stuff, the Green Bay Packers, or Team A, as you will, in this blind resume experiment, they have the number 2 ranked QBR quarterback in the entire league, ahead of Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Sam Darnold, who's having a really good year. He's also ranked 4th in traditional passer rating, behind only Stafford, Drake May, and Jared Goff. And this is why I feel like the Packers are closer to Super Bowl than first round exit. If I gave you the rest of the blind resume, which included they just swept through their tough division, 3 wins in 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks, going into the middle of December. They have a top 5 yardage defense with Micah Parsons to back it up. They are the number 1 third down offense in the NFL, and they don't turn the ball over. They have a top 3 turnover rate. So by almost any measurement, top 5 quarterback statistically, I think if we did a quarterback draft, I don't think that he would be picked in the top 5, but like he's performing with his statistical profile as a top 5 quarterback. They are dominating a tough division. They have a top 5 defense, the number 1 third down offense, and they don't turn the ball over. And by the way, there's still a decent chance that they host playoff games in January in Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
I just feel like I get what you're saying, but I feel like it all adds up to, oh man, we're on like February watch for the Green Bay Packers.
I think Declan said it well, though, with the band of variance on Green Bay, because I see the same thing. You'll see the games where the offense, now it becomes sort of the 3-and-out fest, or it bogs down. And when the games where the offense doesn't show, that is what introduces the variance. Obviously, the defense jumps up with the addition of Parsons, and we've seen how dominant that can be. But yeah, like one bad game from Love, and then you don't have the alpha wide receiver 1, right? Like, so if, a game where you don't have your fastball, someone to kind of bail you out, I think that's what you would be concerned about if you're a Packer fan. But you obviously have the high ceiling. But I don't even know if a Packer fan, like if they would disagree with the idea of like, on one of their off days that they can be had by anyone. And they've lost to the Panthers and the Browns this year. Like, I mean, by definition, that's a true statement.
Yeah. And then it's like their 3 losses. It's like they have a couple bad losses, but like their 3 losses have come by a combined 9 points too. So they're at worst, they're just in it at the end of a game and they're beating everyone else. So Judd, sorry, go ahead.
I feel like they do play a playoff style though, because and I get it. Like that Dallas game, that awful tie. I hate ties. That Dallas game, it's like what happened there. But that being said, and the Cleveland loss was brutal in part because Jordan Love's throw at the end was this inexplicable piece of crap. But that being said, I do think that they play a playoff style. Like that game yesterday against the Bears, which was a hell of a game and went back and forth a lot. That was a playoff game. Like cold weather, you got to run. Josh Jacobs was marvelous. That defense is really tough. So where I guess I would say that the Packers have a pretty good chance in the playoffs is I do think once they get there, assuming Love doesn't do something incredibly stupid to submarine him, I do think they have a team that's built to win in January.
I'm curious. Like here's an exercise. Let's go. Thor gets the number 1 pick. We'll go in order of the screen. Thor gets the number 1 pick. Judd, I'll pick third. Dex, you round it out. And if we need to snake draft it back, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's draft NFC teams to win the Super Bowl. I'm curious where the Packers fall, and let's do 8. There'll be 7 playoff teams. Let's do an impromptu 2-round snake draft here. NFC teams to win the Super Bowl, with Thor getting the number 1 pick here.
I'll write these down.
It's the first ever impromptu snake draft in the history of football takes, folks. You're witnessing history right now.
All right, with the first pick, Team Thor selects the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
Love that pick.
Outside of like one hiccup last week, and then they come back and
And then, what you've seen so far, and then, of course, the seeding, which obviously helps in this conversation as well. But with the Rams currently sitting atop the mountain there with the 10-3 record. But yeah, love what I've seen of them so far.
So it's do we all agree that it's in the NFC, it's Rams, clear line, and then other teams? Or is that oversimplifying?
If you look, well, I'll just go to ESPN's analytics on this. If you go to ESPN analytics to make the Super Bowl odds, the Rams are 29%. There is not another NFC team above 17% is the next highest.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me hit the Judd. You're on the clock.
I know what you're all thinking. You're all thinking, well, Seattle's 10-3. Seattle's right up there, but I can't do it. I'd be a hypocrite. I can't do it because I don't think the quarterback has the stomach for what we're talking about. I will go with the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I mean, all the profile that we just talked about, and by the way, some home field advantages are very different than others. Like if the Rams get home field advantage, okay, it's not the most raucous, passionate, entrenched fan base, which is probably putting it mildly. You're playing indoors in controlled climate. If you have to go through like Seattle or Green Bay, I feel like those are way different level of home field advantages compared to, say, the Rams.
For sure.
Or maybe even the Lions, who aren't really in a place to snag that this year.
And if you look at teams like northern teams with outdoor stadiums and their home record compared to southern teams or dome teams' home record, this is just over the full sample, like the last 30 years. It's pretty crazy to think about. It's why when the Vikings were thinking about building their new stadium, it's like, don't put a roof on that thing. It's a huge competitive advantage, especially as you get into the winter. It's actually a thing that you can see in the data over the last 25, 30 years.
As long as your kicker doesn't miss wide left.
We don't need to bring that up, Jed.
Wow. The scars haunting. Yeah. Okay, with the third pick in the NFC playoff Super Bowl contender draft, I'm going to go a little further down the board here. I'm going to take the Lions.
Oh.
I think people are way too quick, even maybe three other people on this show before the season started,
Ball North.
to write them
Ball
off
North.
Ball North.
as they're for sure going to tumble down the hill. They clearly lost a couple great coordinators, but they've been battling this tough schedule and this tough division, and they put a whooping on the Cowboys on national TV. They also have had a ton of experience navigating December, January football the last few years, more experience the last 3 years than in the previous 50 years of Lions football combined. And Jared Goff, much more than like Sam Darnold and Jordan Love, Jared Goff has had a ton of Super Bowl level experience going back with the Rams. So I'm going to jump out of line and take the Lions third here in this exercise.
Doubling down on his Lions love.
Yep.
That's right.
Feels like a team too that actually I think probably would play better with a chip on its shoulder than as the favorite, which they've been, the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I feel like they actually might perform a little bit better knowing that there's a little bit of there's a little bit of an underdog in there.
Better as the hunter than the hunted.
Brian Branch being done does hurt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had 17 defensive players out last year.
Oh, I know,
and
yeah.
Still,
and they got beat
find a way.
by the Commanders, who are now are really bad.
Football, the National Football League comes at you fast.
Yep. Dan Quinn, just ask him. Last year, chemistry guy. This year, the chemistry's unfortunately blowing up. The chemistry
has it
blown
with
up.
the Lions?
No, Washington.
He's talking about Washington.
Oh, Dan Quinn, not Campbell. Got it.
Yeah, no, Dan Campbell. No, Dan Campbell's fine.
Yeah. Okay, Dex gets back-to-back picks here.
Yeah. So I'm going to take two teams from the same division. I'm actually going to take the Niners above the Seahawks. I'm going to take both of them, but if in my draft order, I'm actually going to take the Niners ahead of Seattle, just more because it's the devil I know. I mean, Kyle Shanahan has gotten to the Super Bowl multiple times. Brock Purdy is now healthy. They're in a soft spot here where they've beaten some really bad teams the last 3 weeks. They beat the Browns 25-8. Panthers are good, better story this year, 20-9, and then they whooped the Cardinals by 19 points. So they're playing some softies here, but I think they're getting healthier a little bit at the right time, and I'll take the Niners. I'll take the Niners actually above Seattle, and I'll take Seattle with my wraparound pick. Obviously, Seattle's been great, but yeah, it's hard to buy in knowing what I saw from Darnold those last 2 games, and even kind of what I've been seeing from Darnold lately. So I'll take the Niners first, and then I'll take the Seahawks.
The run might help him. I'll give him that. I mean, they run the ball a ton. But, yeah, if it's on Sam's shoulders, I agree with you.
The Niners are kind of a fascinating team to watch here down the stretch because their next 2 games, as they sit here, a game back of both Seattle and the Rams, not only for the division, but for the race for home field advantage. Like the number 1 seed, you get the bye, and then you get a home game in your first round, second round of the playoffs, is so valuable. And the next 2 weeks for the Niners, home against Tennessee, and then at Indianapolis, minus Daniel Jones, spiraling out of control.
Yep.
So they're going to be favored in their next 2 games to get to 11-4, and then we'll see where the chips fall. For the Rams, play a couple tough games. I think it's Lions, and then is it Seattle? I can't remember. Before they get Atlanta and then Arizona to finish the season. But there is a chance the 49ers could be sitting in that 1 seed spot after Week 16, beating Tennessee and Indianapolis with all those injuries on defense.
That's a crazy division there. That's a wild division. Wild division.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Oh man, now we're getting got the defending champions. Or how do we feel about the defending champions? 2 straight losses feels a little like 2 years ago. Okay, I feel like I have to pick the Eagles here. I'll go Eagles here, just from a value standpoint. Everyone, it feels like they're trending toward what happened 2 years ago, where they just lost like 6 games down the stretch and they got beat by the Buccaneers. And that puts Judd back on the clock here before Thor rounds it out.
Oh boy, now we're getting
NFC Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah. Now we're getting a little bit up against it. Now we're getting a little bit into a place I don't like being. How much do I think of the Bucs?
Baker gets a little healthier.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's down to what? It's down to the Buccaneers, the Bears. I mean, the Bears.
The Bears are playing tough, man. They had a chance last.
Oh, I know. No. But I mean, do I like them in a playoff situation?
If the Vikings get hot,
The answer, no.
Yeah. Went out.
I'll go with the Bucs.
You're going you're going Bucs. Okay.
I'll go with the Bucs, not the Bears.
And that leaves Thor's already got the Rams at the top, and you get the scraps here.
I was hoping that Sports Dad was going to go with the Bears there. I wanted the Bucs with the last pick, but it's the only other obvious team, so I must take the Bears with my pick.
Okay.
Cowboys could be sneaky.
No consideration for the 6-1 Cowboys hosting the Vikings might put an end to their season this weekend. Watch out.
McCarthy going into the Lone Star State.
Hey, I'll dish the final football take here to you guys, and I think it's probably the headline from the weekend. If the Chiefs weren't already close to being cooked, their playoff chances are on life support, and the current iteration of their dynasty is on life support. So not only are they down to about a 13% chance to make the playoffs, they are the 10 seed, I think, this morning. And they're behind. The Ravens are trying to climb their way back up. And so they've got a ton of work to do to climb over teams, even if they do win out. But the other thing that's interesting is they've kind of come to a crossroads with their roster. Like Travis Kelce is 36 years old. Chris Jones, their defensive centerpiece, is 32 this upcoming offseason. And even Andy Reid himself is 68 years old come like springtime and the new NFL league year. So if they miss the playoffs and you've got some aging key players, you know what it kind of feels like? When the Patriots won their 3 championships, like the Chiefs have, and things were going well, and then they suffer a devastating Super Bowl loss. And for the Patriots, it was in a different form. It was the undefeated season in 2007, and they got slapped upside the head by the Giants. And then the following year, they missed the playoffs. Different reason again, because Tom Brady tore his ACL. But the Chiefs, they rack up the 3 championships. They walk into the Super Bowl last year, get smoked upside the head by an NFC East team, miss the playoffs in the following year, and now you have to sort of reflect on what do we want this thing to be going forward. For the Patriots, the answer coming out of that was Brady gets healthy, and we'll start doing the 12 personnel, 2 tight end thing with like Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, and that created kind of a different layer to their offense. But it just feels like Yep, we've temporarily reached the end of the Chiefs dynasty, but Patrick Mahomes isn't going anywhere, and we'll see about Andy Reid, and now they have to figure out what does this thing look like going forward.
Yeah, I think that's well said. It's not the end of the Chiefs, but it is the end of the Chiefs in this iteration. That after the season, the economics are what they are, and you're going to have, you mentioned Kelsey almost assuredly moving on, a couple other guys moving on, but you're also going to be forced into making some transactions that are going to force you to get younger. And I think they kind of knew this was the final ride with this sort of incarnation of the Chiefs that we've come to know and love. Some people, I suppose, in the middle of the country, but like other going forward, it's going to be a different. You're going to have to do a sort of reload, mini blow up of that roster, get a different configuration. But obviously, Patrick Mahomes is going to be the guy at the center of it, and you could sort of rejigger the thing going forward, like the Patriots did. But yeah, they're going to have to get creative in their front office this offseason.
I think these type of things sometimes are the best thing that can happen because it's been such a great run. But I mean, it takes missing the playoffs at times to like draw that hard line of okay, because I mean, fans and I think teams, they want to bring guys back, and if you're having success, it's hard not to. But in football, you're also watching the age counter, right? And it's like tick, 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 and it's like how long can you do that for? So I actually think that this is a good thing. One, because it's going to get around a little bit of the Chiefs' fatigue, which is definitely out there. But two, I think it gives them a chance to hit a hard reset now and justifiably sever ties with guys who it would be very surprising if you severed those ties after like a run to the conference championship game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Kelsey was like that last interception, or it's like the ball just kind of bounces off his hands. And it's just like, God, the whole thing just feels.
He's got the marriage and the big June wedding now to think about.
He's got a lot on his mind.
There's a lot on that.
Did you guys see that they said that they've never gotten an argument before, him and Taylor Swift?
That's a lie.
Isn't there like visual
told George Clooney
paparazzi
that.
evidence of them like being mad at each other walking out of restaurants?
At least they're like facial expressions. Yeah, like I don't believe them. And even if I did, I think that would be more troubling than
Yeah, it's super troubling.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with both of you? You guys got to argue about
claimed
something.
the same thing.
Like Netflix one night, you didn't have a no, we should watch this, or if we get in the Uber Eats, you never. Certainly something more serious than that, but there was never any disagreements. How is that possible? Travis, stand up for yourself.
The one good thing though is that those two almost certainly never fight about the one thing we all fight about: money. It's not a problem.
Not for Travis, no.
Yeah.
Or for Taylor.
She's worth like $1 billion.
Right. So there's no fight about money.
As if Travis like was insecure or something.
Did you go to McDonald's again, Travis? I mean, have you seen the bills? We can't afford that.
DoorDash again.
The mortgage is due.
We got
The mortgage is due. I'm just writing the check out now. Oh, Tay, come on. I was hungry.
You think Andy Reid's going to still be coaching? Do you think is there a chance at all that we could be adding another team to this list that you threw out there, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs?
I don't think
now that the whole thing has come down.
I don't think he walks off this. I think he's going to want to reload, make one more run at it, and then the opportunity to walk away on top or as close as he can get back there.
Unlike Belichick, I think he, in his ideal world, I mean, things change, but in his ideal world, I think he walks off to the sunset around the time Patrick Mahomes does.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's like speeded. I mean, that's like 10 years from now, isn't it? Andy Reid would be like 77 years old.
Yeah, he's 67 right now.
What's Patrick's age and years experience now?
Is it 29 or 30?
Yeah.
Okay. Declan can look that up for
30
us.
years old.
Okay.
30, yeah.
Okay, so let's just say though, by the time that he is 36 or so, if he's still playing, he's trying to milk it a bit. Like, I don't buy the Brady thing. To me is the biggest bunch of nonsense. He was a completely special human being that's in a different category, okay? So Patrick Mahomes, by the age of, and this guy is taking a beating too. So let's say in 5 or 6 years, he's starting to decline. I think Reid waves bye-bye. My point is, Belichick and Brady had a pissing match, and Brady won it. I think he's going to ride out Patrick's best years and then say bye-bye.
And not to judge anyone's physique, certainly throwing stones in a glass house, but Tom Brady basically ate kale smoothies and
Right.
avocado for every meal for 10 years to extend his career. Patrick Mahomes looks like he enjoys a good meal and a beverage once in a while.
And I don't blame him.
Probably not going to play till you're 46.
Yeah.
No,
And
which
Andy
is
Reid,
fine.
six years younger than the aforementioned Bill Belichick, whose
right,
girlfriend is 6
right
years
now.
younger than Pat Mahomes.
God.
Again, no judgment. Yeah, it's a judgment-free zone
Hey,
here
you-
on Football
Fun with
Takes.
numbers.
You do you. Everybody do you.
All right, that's the first episode of Football Takes.
On that
here.
note.
Score North Football Takes.
Good stuff,
with our
Rusty.
guy Thor Nystrom. We got Judd Dex. I'm Phil, and keep an eye out throughout the week. So, like this week, for instance, Wednesday, you guys are going to connect for another Football Takes episode, and Thor has draft stuff on the horizon. Thor's Hammers on Thursday, where you look ahead at the football universe and see where are you going to be putting your money. And then for the rest of the season, at least starting at the end of the weekend, a Guess the Lines episode too, and whatever else we decide to come up with here in the coming weeks and months. So thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. And we'll see you next time on Football Takes.
Football.